maybe have enough now.
Yeah, I just counted, and we do have over 11 now, so I can call for quorum. So thank you all for joining us this morning. As I call your name, please unmute and let me know that you are indeed in attendance. Carrie Wilcoxon. Shane Kiso.
I am indeed of attendance, yes.
Tom Peterson. John Willett. Raymond Hung.
Here.
Nick Russo.
Good morning, Margaret. I'm here.
Good morning, Nick. Chris Salas. Aaron Pinkerton.
Here.
Tony Abbo. Matthew Reeg.
Here.
Willard Skelton. Nicholas Swart. I guess, are you attending for Nicholas Mazen, or will he be here as well?
Yeah, I'm going to be here. Actually, I don't know if he's joining us today. Did you send an invite? Sorry.
He gets the original invite. Yes, I believe so.
Well. Just a heads up. I guess you have been informed that I'm going to be actually representing the county as the safety.
Yes.
So.
Okay, he should have been sent the notice. Okay. Move on to Ryan Hudson.
I am here.
Brandon Foring. Carl Langford.
I'm here.
And it looks like I saw Jason Kara Hartman today. Is that accurate?
Yes, I am here for Pinal County.
Mohammed Yusuf.
Good morning, I'm here.
Okay. Sam Taylor.
Yep, I'm here.
Thanks, Sam. Dana Ossiani.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. Kathy Hollow.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning. We have Frank Sotil for Adrian Ruiz.
Good morning, I am here.
Jeff King.
Good morning, Margaret. I am here.
Good morning. And Alberto Gutierrez. Have I missed anybody? Mohammed or Chris, can you look at the chat to see if there's anybody potentially that is having audio issues?
Margaret, I'm here from Hal Marin from the town of Cape Creek.
Okay, thank you, Hal.
Margaret's, and then chat says John Willits joined. He was in an FHWA webinar.
Okay. Okay, great. Mr. Chair, we do have quorum.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, everyone. Now that quorum is present, we will officially begin the meeting. So this is a virtual meeting of the MAG Transportation Safety Committee, and it is now called to order. All meeting attendees enter muted. We'd ask you to please stay muted. If you are a phone-only attendee, you need to press *6 to unmute, just so you are aware. So our first item of agenda is our, well, I guess technically second, because we called the meeting to order, is approval of minutes. Approval of minutes from the Transportation Safety Committee teleconference that was held via Zoom on January 26th of 2021. That has been passed around to everyone. Does any members of the Transportation Safety Committee have comments or revisions to the meeting minutes from January 26th of 2021? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion to to recommend approval of the January 26th, 2021 meeting minutes?
Carl, I'll move to approve. It's Kathy Hollow.
Thank you, Kathy. Do we have a second?
Mohammed Yusuf, second.
I'll second.
I heard Mohammed.
Thank you, Mohammed. All right. So now we need to do a roll call vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, say nay. If you're abstaining, please say so. Margaret, would you mind taking roll call, please?
Sure, and this is for approval of the minutes. Carrie Wilcoxon,
Correct.
Shane Kiso,
Aye.
John Willett,
Aye.
Raymond Hong,
Aye.
Nick Russo,
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton,
Aye.
Tony Abbo, Tony, how do you vote? Okay, I'm sorry, Mazen,
Yay.
Ryan Hudson,
Aye.
Carl Langford,
Aye.
Jason Botchin,
Aye.
Mohammed Yusuf,
Aye.
Sam Taylor,
Aye.
Dana Ossiani,
Aye.
Kathy Hollow,
Aye.
Frank Sotil.
Aye.
Okay. And did I miss anybody?
Hi,
Matt Tariq, aye.
Okay, thank you, Matthew.
Hi, Margaret. It's Carrie. Aye as well.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. With that, Mr. Chair, the roll call has accepted the meeting minutes as written.
All right. Thank you all. With that, we will move on to the third item of agenda, and that is our call to audience. So members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting through the MAG website. Comments may be sent at any time leading up to the meeting, but must be received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. MAG staff, have we received any public comments? And if so, could you please read them at this time?
Mr. Chair, we have not received any comments on this or any other agenda item.
Sounds good. With that, we will move on to item number 4, which is our program manager's report. Margaret, can you please provide the report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. I have a few items today, and I'm going to try to get through them as quickly as possible. We are a little late in starting our planning for 2021 crossing guard training. One of the main reasons is because we're still kind of trying to decide if we're going to be doing an in-person, the 3 in-person workshops, or we're going to be doing virtual like last year. We really would like to get some input from districts, so I'm going to be sending out kind of a template email to members of the safety committee and ask that you would please distribute that to your districts to get some feedback on last year's virtual platform, if we want to continue doing that this year, or if we want to go back to the in-person. This obviously, the in-person takes quite a bit more coordination, but we obviously have no problem doing so. We just want to be able to make sure we take the proper steps to plan those. If we do virtual, we can also, as we discussed kind of at the end of last year, after we did the virtual workshops, we can put a little bit of budget towards really enhancing that platform and how we provided that last year. So either way, we'll be happy to provide those workshops this year. We have been getting some requests and some interest on really either platform, but just wanted to let you all know. We will probably be convening with the planning team that we have historically met with. We typically start meeting in February, but with all the activity with the safety plan going on, we will probably be looking into holding that here in the next 2 or 3 weeks with that planning team. Discuss again, kind of go over some of the pros and cons of each platform and a strategy to move forward. I'd like to have the input from the districts prior to that so we can use that planning meeting efficiently. So look for the doodle poll on that here in about 3 weeks, and we'll get that planned. So for our 2021 project updates, the fiscal year 2020 road safety assessments are back underway. There was one RSA that was conducted the week of March 8th, and one is underway this week. Schedules for the remaining RSAs are forthcoming. We have a more efficient process now that we're utilizing for conducting road safety assessments. So Mohammed will be giving a presentation here in a little bit about his confidence in getting the fiscal year 2021 road safety assessments underway and completed by the end of the fiscal year. So the second item is the work being done under the media contract for CME Arizona are in full force. And at this time, I'd like to ask Chris Gotzecker if he could give a brief update on CME Arizona.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Margaret. And thank you, Safety Committee. So the first step for the CME Arizona media program was a survey, and that survey is now live, both in English and Spanish. It's an online survey. Basically, we're just trying to gauge what behaviors are done and the perceived danger of these behaviors. And this survey was developed in coordination with the CME AZ task force, as well as our media consultant. And then we also have a significant amount of work developing the media campaign itself. Our communications team is working very diligently, very hard to meet deadlines by the end of the month to get some ads to our consultant, which is in the process of purchasing that ad space as we speak. And we are on track to launch that ad campaign, the media campaign, by early April. End of the first week of April, to be precise. But yeah, thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Chris. So the next item you'll see on the screen is the near miss analysis. We've had a couple of hiccups. We did meet more recently with Valley Metro and the 3 local agencies that are conducting this study in partnership with us. And we kind of took a look at the costs. We had some preliminary costs from the near miss analysis vendor, and it's quite expensive. So what we decided to do is reduce the amount of locations where we'll be conducting the near miss analysis. Each one of the 10 locations will all receive kind of traditional road safety assessment, with the addition in the scope of, each consultant will have 5 locations on their task order, and each consultant will provide us a determination of what they think the near miss value, what the value added of the near miss analysis is. So we can kind of have a comparison between, what we get with the near miss analysis and just with the traditional observation and review of crash data and crash reports as well. So hopefully be moving forward with data collection here in April, and then completing those first 10 projects here at the end of the fiscal year in June. So as noted on the screen, we're still on track to begin work on the predictive safety framework in the next few months. And anticipation of the second phase of that project will begin pending approval from the MAG Regional Council of the biannual MAG Unified Planning Work Program in May. The remaining projects shown here are subjects of regular agenda items to be heard with one for possible action. And before we move forward, I just was really pleased with how some of these came out. This is in as it relates to the See Me Arizona. Just kind of wanted to show some potential See Me digital ads that are extremely talented communication staff have come up with. So you might see one of these. So the next item on my report is the programming of Highway Safety Improvement Program funds, Safe Routes to School, as well as the Roadway Safety Program projects. So for HSIP, you all may have seen some of this in different presentations that Carrie's been giving at different events. For fiscal year 2025 Highway Safety Improvement Program, the call for projects will be on July 1st, 2021. Applications will be due on November 1st, with eligibility letters anticipated sometime in July of 2022. This year, there's an approximate available of 35 million available, with the $5 million maximum and the $250,000 minimum. For the fiscal year 2025 Safe Routes to School, as well as the fiscal year 2023 Road Safety Program, that call for projects will be on August 2nd, 2021, with the, there's another whole list of other programs going for the larger TIP programming process on August 2nd. Those applications will be due on September 17th. I'm sorry, Queen says 2021. It should have said 2022, 2021 for both of those on the due dates. So for HSIP, November 1st, 2021, and for the Safe Routes to School and RSP, due September 17th, 2021. Presentations and a recommendation potentially from this committee at the November 14th, 2021 meeting. And just as a reminder, the Safe Routes to School available amount is $400,000, and we'll have an approximate amount of $1.9 million for road safety program projects available this year. We're kind of moving into a stage in the RSP where we're going to start collecting some information on not just the 2020 projects that are in the ground, but also where we're at with the 2021 projects and 2022 projects. So we'll be providing all that information, including kind of a final determination of where we're at on the available amount. I know that the surprise project came in under budget, and so we can add that money back into that bank. So I also have Patrick Stone at the meeting today. If you all have any questions of him regarding at least the TIP call for projects that includes the 2025 Safe Routes to School and 23 Road Safety Program. Moving on to the next item. This is kind of a neat opportunity that we might have on strategies to improve pedestrian safety at night. This was an RFP that was put out for NCHRP 1797. And it was based on, and it's a report that stated that in 2019, there were 6,205 reported pedestrian deaths and traffic crashes on the nation's roadways. Approximately 75 of these fatalities occurred at night. In fact, during 2008 through 2017 period, nighttime crashes accounted for more than 90% of the total increase in pedestrian deaths. As you all may know, research indicates that even when collision is not fatal, injuries sustained by pedestrians at nighttime tend to be much more severe. While visibility is obviously the single most important factor impacting pedestrian nighttime safety, there appear to be a host of other factors that interplay and must have a role in exacerbating the issue. So these factors also need to be understood fully to help develop an effective strategy for improving pedestrian safety at night. Existing common strategies are often limited in their applicability due to funding restraints, technical limitations, policy shortcomings, and other factors. And this research is needed to support transportation agencies' data-driven decisions aimed at improving pedestrian safety at night. So to that, we are partnering with a consultant team. We provided a letter of support. What this really means for us, MAG, as an organization, as well as some of you all, where as of September 1, if their proposal is successful, this particular team, it will start around September 1st, and it will be a 3-year project. MAG will be providing crash data, land use data, and land use characteristics. And we'll also help facilitate collecting roadway characteristics from local agencies. And I put minimum 3 here in parentheses. I already have confirmation from 3 of you that you would like to participate. And I am here today to kind of solicit any more volunteers that would like to provide some of the roadway characteristics that will go into this research study. MAG will also be providing, will be advising on the research itself, as well as doing ground truth analysis on the strategies. So we'll update you in September if that is indeed successful.
Margaret, you could add Tempe to the list.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Margaret, this is Carrie. For that NCHRP study that you mentioned, do we have a feel for not just where LED lights are in the valley, but when they were put in, that we could match up potentially with the crash data?
That's part of the information we're going to be collecting from the local agencies to put into this research. So those are things that this research will look at, yes.
Okay. That's great. Thanks.
If any other member agency would like to volunteer, you can shoot me an email or just let me know between now and September, I guess. Thanks, Kathy. So with that, I'd like to give Jeff King from Federal Highway an opportunity to talk about some of the upcoming FHWA events.
Thank you, Margaret and Mr. Chair. First off, this morning we kicked off the Designing for Pedestrian 201 workshop. Many of you that are on this call, I know were on that workshop as well. We're conducting that split each day. There's 2 hours in the morning, 2 in the afternoon through Thursday. Then on April 6th and April 8th, we will be conducting a complete streets workshop. I might add, on the Designing for Pedestrian 201, we had 39 participants this morning. So very good turnout for that. Thank you all. Complete Streets is April 6th and 8th. Again, it will be a split schedule each day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. We'll not be meeting on the 7th. It's actually the 6th and the 8th. It's a 8-hour workshop. And then as part of the previous Everyday Counts round 5 UAS, with unmanned aerial systems and transportation, we're putting together a workshop or summit, which will be held June 8th and 9th. It also plays into the Everyday Counts round 6, Next Generation Traffic Incident Management, which has a focus on use of unmanned aerial systems to aid in clearing traffic incidents. The Next Gen TIM, for those of you that might not be familiar with it, there is a Arizona TIM coalition that meets bi-monthly. It's made up of all the disciplines involved in traffic incident management, with a main focus on improving safety for responders and motorists by clearing traffic incidents more quickly, which also has a focus on reducing congestion. This round 6 will run from 2021 to 2022. Some of the other pillars in this, in addition to use of UAS, is CAD integration, video sharing. One of the projects that the Arizona EDC team is looking at is putting cameras on response vehicles that can be shared back to the TOC or TMCs. Increasing the training and bringing in more of local transportation involved in traffic incidents to the training. The next training is going to be March 31st. The standard training for responders is 4 hours. You can go to tim.az.gov at any time. That is the Arizona TIM Coalition website. There is a TIM training link on that that'll take you to a calendar. Typically, there's at least 2 to 4 training workshops every single month. Right now, most of them are virtual, but I encourage you to take a look at that. One item that's not on here that I'll share with you, we have not scheduled a time because we're hoping that we can get to a point that we can do this one in person, but we are planning a designing for bicycle safety. Hopefully maybe later this fall, if things loosen up, we'll be able to bring that, but keep an eye out for that. And I encourage any of you, if there's any particular workshop or need that you have that I can help you with, feel free to reach out to me. And again, Mr. Chair, Margaret, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. So the next item, it's unfortunate that Nicholas Swart was not able to join us today. I wanted to wish him a happy retirement. He joined the safety committee soon after I joined the MAG organization as an employee. As Mazen mentioned before, he will be now presenting the county in Nicholas Swart's retirement. Nicholas Swart was the division manager for Transportation Systems Management, which includes overseeing all aspects of intelligent transportation systems, long-range planning, traffic engineering, and project management for Maricopa County Department of Transportation. He started at McDOT in 1998 in what was then the traffic engineering branch that transitioned into Transportation Systems Management division with a focus on safety and mobility. As I mentioned before, Nicholas was appointed to the Transportation Safety Committee in April 2019, April 19th, 2013, after the retirement of Chris Plum. So if you all want to send Nicholas an email congratulating him on his retirement, I think he would really appreciate that. Kind of wanted to honor him today. Some of the additional items that related more to safety that he was involved in at the county were safe routes to school studies, school traffic safety, the roadway safety management program, traffic calming ordinance and speed hump guidelines, the McDOT quiet zone policy and procedure, as well as the McDOT or the upgrade to the manual of assessing safety hardware standards, or MASH. So Mazen, if you could pass along our congratulations, and we will miss him and hope he has plans to do some really exciting and relaxing things in his retirement.
Well, I will do that, Margaret. Thank you on his behalf.
With that, Mr. Chair, that concludes my program manager's report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret, and those that have helped to share some of those items. So our next item on the agenda is for information, discussion, and possible action. This is the fiscal year 2020 to 2024 TIP currently includes 5 safe route to school studies in 4 member agencies funded with Transportation Alternative Safe Routes to School SRTS funds. So your non-infrastructure program funds. Funds are set aside for administration of the SRTS studies projects through the MAG Unified Planning Work Program for projects programmed in the respected fiscal year and reimbursed using TA funds. Due to the uncertainties of when schools would be open for in-person learning, MAG staff, in consultation with the affected agency, has determined it would be best to commence the work when in-person learning is more widely established. MAG staff will provide a review of outreach conducted and review of the list of projects to be deferred to fiscal year 2022. So with that, I believe, is this Margaret or is this Chris that is presenting now?
That'll be me. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation and Safety Committee. As you may or may not know, we had a Safe Routes to School Summit last September. The main focus of that summit was to pull together the member agencies that currently, at that time, had Safe Routes to School studies that had to be postponed due to COVID last year, as well as those who had studies that were going to be upcoming for the 2021 fiscal year, and what the strategy would be to move forward. At that time, we felt like we could finish the Avondale Safe Routes to School studies. They were at a point to where we could put together a good report and a good action plan for those Avondale schools. And so those were completed at the end of last year, sometime very beginning of this year. On the additional ones, though, we met again. I just kind of did some outreach with each one of the member agencies to ask kind of, how they felt. There was a lot of uncertainties last September, but there's still quite a few unknowns right now, and still some questions regarding when in-person would be, when school would be in person more widely across the region. So just as a reminder, the scope is very comprehensive and includes some elements that can be done without the benefit of in-person learning conditions. However, a large portion of the scope requires observations when children are in the school walking and biking boundaries for existing conditions. So the bulk of that would not be able to be done. And while we got some really good input from our schools, districts, as well as our consultants on how we can potentially kind of do a phased approach to the Safe Routes to School studies, we still feel that it would be better to do so potentially in the fall. And so we are requesting, we have to take this through the MAG approval process, a deferral. So today we are asking for a deferral of and I would refer you to attachment 1. There is a revision to that attachment. The original attachment 1, for some reason, did not include in Apache Junction. So the revised list that you see here, which will be moving forward, includes the Apache Junction projects for Cactus Canyon Junior High, as well as Four Peaks Elementary School, including Gila Bend Elementary, the Ball School District in the city of Phoenix, Wilson Primary in the city of Phoenix, and as well as Salt River Elementary in the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. So the action requested is to recommend deferral of the fiscal year 2020 Safe Routes to School Studies projects to fiscal year 2022. And again, we have Patrick Stone. If there are any questions you have regarding how a deferral works, he's here to answer some of those questions.
Thank you for the overview of that, Margaret. Personally, I think this is a very good thing to do. My local school here, we've seen a lot of just difference. They have returned to school, but of course, not everyone. And actually, the buses have way less students on them than previously. So I think it's very useful to defer a bit to kind of see what really will be the new normal in the fall. With that, any additional comments and or questions from the Transportation Safety Committee on this item? Hearing none, could I have a motion to recommend the deferral of the fiscal year 2020 Safe Routes to School Studies projects to fiscal year 2022?
Mr. Chairman, this is Kerry. I so move.
Thank you, Carrie, for the motion. Could we get a second?
I'll second. It's Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. With a first and a motion, Margaret, can you please take roll call for this specific action? Again, those in favor say aye. If opposed, say nay. State if you're abstaining.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carrie Wilcoxon,
Aye.
Shane Kiso,
Aye.
John Willett,
Aye.
Raymond Hong,
Aye.
Nick Russo,
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton,
Aye.
Tony Ebo, Matthew Reek,
Aye.
Mazen,
Aye.
Ryan Hudson,
Aye.
Brandon Forey, Carl Langford,
Aye.
Jason Botchin,
Aye.
Mohammed Yusuf,
Aye.
Sam Taylor, Dana Ossiani,
Aye.
Kathy Hollow,
Aye.
Frank Sotil,
Aye.
Jeff King.
Sorry, abstain. I'm a non-voting member.
Right, thank you. With that, Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you, everyone, for voting on this. With that, we will move on to the next agenda item. That is item number 6. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion. A project was included in the fiscal 2021 MAG workbook with a budget of $100,000 to provide technical assistance to local agencies by conducting road safety studies. These studies would be carried out by MAG on-call consultants. MAG staff, along with Hal Marion from the town of Queen Creek, will provide an overview of the LASS, or the Local Agency Safety Studies program, for the town's request for funding utilizing the available LASS program funds. So with that, we'll turn it back to Margaret and Hal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. As Mr. Chair described to you, this is another one of our ongoing programs in the MAG safety program, the Local Agency Safety Studies. We set aside about $100,000 a year for technical assistance in doing safety studies for some of these locations or segments that member agencies have a concern, a safety concern that they would like to address that would not necessarily meet the traditional road safety assessment criteria. So we have an open call for our projects. It's open from July till March or until the funds are exhausted. And in this case, the funds had not been yet exhausted. And so the town of Cape Creek submitted an application for $40,000 to request a phase 2 safety implementation plan for some of the work that was already done in the phase 1 of their safety study. So with that, I would like to invite Hal Marin to go ahead and provide us some information on his request.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you, Transportation Safety Committee. The town of Cave Creek, we thank MAG for funding the first pedestrian safety study. Unfortunately, it got delayed because of COVID. All of a sudden, all the pedestrians that we had disappeared. Our problem was solved, the traffic and the pedestrian, but now they're starting to come back, and the work that the consultants that MAG has funded have done a very good job for us. And they have come up with several recommendations, but now we need to come up with a way of fleshing out those programs so that we can turn them into capital improvement. As every other agency on this call knows, you're deep into budgets right now, and we're trying to get a handle on what we need to do over the next 5 years to implement some of these wonderful ideas. So what we've asked for is some additional funding to look at specific locations. We have an extensive trail system in the town of Cave Creek, and one of the objectives is to put in a pedestrian crossing at one of the major trailheads. And the question is, does that warrant a hawk? And so that would be one of the things that we want to look at that location. There were other locations that in the recommendations where they wanted some signage, some flashing boards, some other pedestrian safety measures input, and we need to get a handle on what those are going to cost and what order we should implement them. So we appreciate your consideration of funding this phase 2 program. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Hal, was there any commentary that you wanted to add as it relates to the map that's shown? And I did include kind of a photo that was taken by the consultant team on some of the things that the town has in place right now as far as pedestrian safety there at the bottom right-hand corner. But just thought I would show the map again in case you had any additional information here.
No, we really don't. But what we have done is we have put some signage up. We've put some center delineators that we take a lot of heat in the local press for to try and warn people about about the crosswalks and pedestrian safety in the crosswalks. Our local paper actually said that he was upset with us because it was slowing traffic down too much. So be that what it is. As far as the locations, we have a couple of different locations. The one on the lower right-hand or off to the right-hand corner of the picture that Margaret's showing is the Surrey Trail, which will be the crosswalk that we want to add that will take people up and over the mountain pass. On the right that are labeled 2 and 3, those are areas where we have 2 specifically is our bar and restaurant district, where we have bull riding, so come on out if you want to see some bull riding, where we have bull riding 2 nights a week, and then they go across back and forth between the different establishments in that area. And so we have a lot of pedestrian crossing and a lot of pedestrians at risk. And then we have our central core area, which is not really shown, but we have a majority of our crosswalks over sort of in that central area where we have people that play Frogger going across the street between different shopping opportunities and different restaurants. So the consultant has looked at those and made recommendations, one including a 4-way stop at Basin or at Hidden Valley Road is what they've recommended. So again, fleshing out what are possible, even things like raised crosswalks to try and sort of incorporate a speed hump concept with a crosswalk concept to try again slow traffic down. We have the flashing warning signs for speed already, but we are a fairly popular pedestrian corridor during the spring months when we have a lot of winter visitors who come out to visit Cave Creek. So Margaret, again, any questions that you might have, I'm willing to answer.
All right, I guess if there's no questions, I did want to mention before we leave this particular agenda item that local agencies can still apply for the remaining $60,000. it would kind of depend on the scope of work and that it can realistically be substantially completed by June 2021. So those are some a little bit of limitations there, but on some of these, they're a little bit more short term and we can accommodate that. So just wanted to make sure that was mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes this agenda item.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you, Hal. Our next agenda item is the recommended roadway safety assessment projects. So this item is on the agenda for information and discussion. The fiscal year 2021 MAG work program includes a budget of $200,000 for the road safety assessment RSA program. A list of projects to be funded has been identified by a working group. Thank you for those that participated in that was formed for this purpose. The committee will review and recommend the final list of RSA projects to be carried out by MAG. MAG staff will provide an overview of the fiscal year 2021 RSA program and recommended project locations for RSAs to be conducted utilizing the said funds. So with that, we'd like to turn it over to Mohammed and Margaret to present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the member of the Transportation Safety Committee, Margaret, also. So on March 2nd of this year, we convened the RSA working group meeting to decide on the locations of the FY 2021 RSA that we are planning to conduct based on the latest network screening results that we had available using 2015 to 2019 data. So based on the data and also discussion with the working group and their priorities, we came up with 6 RSA projects. One interesting thing about this year's RSA project or RSA studies is that we have a blend of East Valley, Phoenix, Glendale, and ADOT locations. As you can see on the slide here, we have 6 locations identified for RSS. 2 of those are corridor RSA. As you can see, project number 1 and project number 3. Rest of the RSS are signalized intersection RSA. As you can see, number 2, Chandler. These locations was specifically considered because City of Chandler provided us with information that this location has been consistently in their top 1 for the last couple of years. And then we have a location at number 6 in Tempe, Broadway Road and Rural Road. The rest of the RSL locations, as you can see, are in Phoenix, Glendale, or Phoenix area. One is in Phoenix area with ADOT ownership of the interchange at the I-17 and Peoria Avenue. So with that 6 projects, our total budget came out to our annual RSA program budget of $200,000. At this point, the status we are at is based on the recommendation of today's committee. We will go ahead and start issuing fee proposal to the consultants for conducting this RSA. And with our timeline, we are anticipating that at the beginning of April 3rd week, we will be able to start the field reviews and will be able to complete all the 6 RSS within our time frame of June 30th. Some of the revisions that were made to the RSA procedure this year is that based on the condition of the pandemic, we have made some of the safety protocol mandatory while doing the field review. For example, wearing mask and keeping safe social distance, and we are not sharing any of the safety equipments among the RSA team members. We are restricting travel in a single vehicle to a maximum of 2 persons, and all the meetings that we are conducting for the pre, post, and during the RSA are to be held in a virtual format. And we have also bring our field review instead of 2 days. Now we have a single day field review, but we are still considering all the AM peak, PM peak, afternoon and morning field review. So we are not missing out on anything, but we are making sure that we are coming down to a single day to conduct the field review. So incorporating all those changes, we are hoping to start the 2021 RSS as soon as possible, given the timeline. And at this point of time, we are also finishing up our FY 2020 RSA that were pending from the last year's pandemic hold. So we just completed 3 RSAs, and the rest of the RSAs will be conducted starting week of April 13th, and hopefully completed by the end of 3rd week of April. So once FY 2020 RSS are done, we will be subsequently starting the FY 2021 RSS. That's the information I have for the RSS at this point of time. Thank you.
Thanks, Mohammed. I just wanted to say, going back to this slide here, that I really appreciate the work that was done by the working group to get as many opportunities to identify safety improvements at more locations across the region, which this list surely indicates. So I was really happy to see that. And that's all MAG staff has on this agenda item, Mr. Chair, unless anybody has questions.
Thank you, Mohammed and Margaret. Again, I echo those that were part of the working group. Thank you for your efforts. I know it took a bit to get working on, but we appreciate everybody's efforts on that. So any additional comments or questions regarding this item before we move on? Okay. Hearing none, our next item on the agenda is the Strategic Transportation Safety Plan, Safe System in Action. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion. In 2019, MAG began work with a consultant team to develop a comprehensive update to the Strategic Transportation Safety Plan. Work on this plan has occurred over an 18-month period to identify a culture of safety and establish regional vision, goals, objectives, strategies, and performance measures for transportation safety. In addition, this work is in preparation for the new Regional Transportation Plan, Momentum, and future strategies that support multimodal transportation safety in the region. The consultant team, led by Mike Blankenship, will provide an overview of the draft final plan elements and facilitate discussion with committee members. So at this time, we'd like to turn it over to Mike Blankenship for the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. You guys know that your agencies are all doing great things out there from a safety perspective. You're getting hawks installed left and right, dealing with removing negative left turn offsets that are creating left turn crashes. A lot of great stuff going on from a safety perspective, but the fatal numbers are still going in the wrong direction. And so a key element of this safety plan is promoting a culture of safety that says, hey, everybody has to take responsibility. It's not just the safety community. It's not just you guys on this committee that are responsible for safety. It is everybody's responsibility. That goes from the individual road users all the way up the chain of command to the policymakers, elected officials, and obviously the planners and engineers who deal with safety. So the key thread running throughout this safety plan is promoting this culture of safety and specifically focusing in on the vulnerable users and more importantly, the pedestrians. So pedestrian fatal crashes have just gone, they've tripled over the last 10 years in the MAG region. So we want to prioritize people, not just, throwing stats and crash numbers out, but the people that are actually impacted by these crashes. And one key way we're going to do that with the safety plan is to try to focus on getting that safety message across, not only to the public, but all of everybody that I just mentioned, all the way up to our elected officials. Next. So a key piece of this culture of safety is to adopt a safe system approach. And this is a system that really anticipates human error and accommodates human injury tolerances. So for example, we know that left turn and angle crashes and pedestrian crashes are going to be high severity crashes. A body can't take those types of forces, whether you're inside or outside of a vehicle. So focusing on those types of crashes that really impact from an injury standpoint. The 5 key elements of the safe system approach are safe road users, safe vehicles, safe speeds, safe roads, and then safe post-crash care. And I thought it was interesting when the Cave Creek presentation was made a few minutes ago, and Hal mentioned that they've made these great pedestrian safety improvements out there, but the local newspaper is complaining that the speeds have gone down too much. You're slowing us down, you're delaying us. And that ties directly into the safe system approach and this whole culture of safety. It hits on at least two of these safe system elements, safe roads and safe speeds. But also just on that culture of safety that we need to turn the thinking around. It shouldn't be a focus on we've slowed traffic down by 5 miles an hour. The focus should be we have a safety issue out here for pedestrians and we're doing something about it. And that paper should be celebrating that instead of complaining about it. Obviously, the 4 E's have always been a part of safety plans, engineering, education, enforcement, and EMS. That's still part of this safety plan, but the focus isn't so much on those 4 silos, those 4 different E's, but how they interact with each of these 5 elements of a safe system. Go ahead. So, and I wanted to give kudos not only to the safety committee, but also we had a great safety stakeholders group that worked with us over the last 1.5 years in developing this plan. And part of the task was to develop a really focused vision, goal, and action area. So our overall vision of the plan is very simple. Everyone gets home safely. The overall goal is to bring those numbers down, those severe crash numbers down, and the number of people that are impacted by those crashes. And really, we always focus on just the people that were actually injured or killed in a crash, as we should. But the impact to people goes way beyond the people that were injured or killed in that crash. It goes to their family and friends. So a lot of people impacted by these crashes. We focused on 4 action areas: pedestrians, intersections, lane departure crashes, and then the data itself, getting timely and accurate crash data. We're showing here that 24% of the fatal crashes in the region are pedestrians. And really, it's a lot worse than that. That's 24% over the last 10 years. Over the last year or two, that number has skyrocketed and it's up around a third. About 33% of the fatals in the MAG region are pedestrians. We really need to do something about that. But you can see the other numbers there. A little over half of the fatals are lane departures, so head-ons or running off the road. And then about a third of the fatals occur at intersections. Next. So with those action areas, we also developed kind of 3 categories of strategies, and we're calling them identify, promote, and communicate. So it's identifying areas or locations of opportunity, doing good network screening, and not just network screening from a crash data standpoint, but screening on demographics, socioeconomic data, to see maybe there's communities where we've got low auto ownership and higher bus ridership that's a prime candidate for pedestrian issues and to implement pedestrian safety measures. The promote is promoting high value countermeasures. So really this focuses a lot on the engineering side of the safe system approach, the engineering safer roads. So what are really the high value countermeasures that don't cost a whole lot of money, but they really reduce crashes and specifically reduce those fatal and serious injury crashes. So we want to focus on those. And also high value in terms of what's easy for you as member agencies in MAG to implement on your end. And then the communicate is really, how do we best communicate that safety message? I already mentioned it that, we need to get this message, not just to the people, the pedestrians crossing the road, but all the way up to our elected officials so that the focus really is on safety and what these traffic crashes are doing to the region. One of the key elements of communicating the safety message is the CME AZ program that MAG is currently working with a consultant on. There's going to be 4 pilot agencies that are piloting the CME AZ program this spring and fall. So cities of Phoenix, Tempe, Chandler, and Glendale. And kudos to them for stepping up. But we really want to see this CME AZ program take off region wide. And there'll be more information coming out on that. But these 4 are definitely going to pilot the education and enforcement aspects of this program. Next. So what's all this going to cost? What you see here is we're comparing what the annual cost to society is based on Federal Highway Administration estimates of, the societal cost of a fatal crash and a serious injury crash and a minor injury crash. So $8.5 billion a year over the last 10 years is what the crashes in the MAG region are costing society, are costing the region. We've estimated with the safety plan that about $18 million a year going into some safety projects, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. $18 million a year would help bring these numbers down, the crash numbers, but in this slide, the cost numbers to society. And $18 million, it's not even a rounding error there. It's 0.2% of that $8 billion annual cost to society. So even if you take this out over 10 years, $180 million, you're still only talking about 2% of the cost to society there.
Mike, I just wanted to make a note here as well. So the plan itself was distributed to you all sometime last week. Internal MAG staff are also reviewing it. One of the things that I'm going to be taking a look at is, we had based the 18 million partially on, how many safety improvements could be done realistically in a year, right? And we base it off of the positive offset countermeasure. I think we might want to take a look at putting a wider range of safety countermeasures for just a sample of what could be done. I think that 18 million might go up a little bit, but it certainly will not breach 1% of the 8.5 billion. So we won't come anywhere near that. So,
well, and that's a good point, Margaret, because this is based on what's been happening in the last few years in the MAG region with HSIP projects and the MAG RSP projects. One key part of this safety plan is with this safety message, getting it out there to the public and decision makers, and with Prop 400 coming up for renewal, is with this focus on safety. The need is out there. $18 million a year, again, is a drop in the bucket. We put the focus on safety, and those numbers, we're looking at bringing in a lot more funding for safety to address these issues. So I agree totally, Margaret. This would be like the baseline number to spend on safety. Next. So these are just some of the graph there on the left, some of the funding opportunities. So Safe Routes to School and the MAG RSP, and how much typically each year is available in these programs. Governor's Office of Highway Safety. The HSIP numbers there are statewide, 35 million. And MAG here in the last couple of years has been getting about 10 million of that, which is still a little on the low side, I think, because over half of the fatals occur in the MAG region. So we should be looking at trying to get half of that 35 million here in the MAG region. But in terms of partners implementing the plan, you've got the MAG member agencies, the 27 cities and towns, our 3 native nations, McDOT, Pinal County, ADOT, Valley Metro, others, the schools. So lots of partners here to help implement this safety plan. We've talked about the cost, the funding sources there. There will be, in terms of safety performance reporting, the STSP, the MAG webpage for the safety plan is going to be reformatted so that it's got an implementation toolbox and safety performance reporting so that we can track how well we're doing, both from a projects implemented, how many RSP projects, how many RSAs were conducted, but also what are the safety trends looking like? Are we seeing a reduction in fatals, or is it going up like it has gone up in the last year or so? Next slide. So going along with the implementation, the call for action, what can we all do? And we tried to boil it down to these 6 key words here, but from a reporting standpoint, this hits a couple of areas. So it's actual crash reporting, encouraging more electronic crash reporting, more accurate and timely crash reporting. And then network screening, that's a reporting mechanism. Mohammed talked about the RSAs that are going to be conducted, and that's based on the network screening that MAG does every year to develop that list of 100, the hot 100 intersections based on crash data. Collaboration, interagency collaboration, so that regardless of the project type or the funding and who's funding it, that we get safety elements included in all of these projects, and that safety is not just seen as an add-on or a nuisance. It's incorporated into all projects. Planning, so utilizing the tools that are to be developed as a framework to include those safety elements in all projects. The funding we've hit on, going after funding of those high value countermeasures. So whether it's, in July, ADOT's call for HSIP funding, or in September for MAG's RSP funding, locally funded projects. City of Phoenix is pumping out, 10 to 15 Hawks every year. City of Tempe with their Vision Zero program. So the local projects also, it's not just these, federally funded projects we're talking about from a funding standpoint. Enforcing that safe system approach in all projects, getting those safe speeds. And this isn't just the law enforcement side of things, but it's actually having, setting proper speed limits and maybe even incorporating more use of cameras for speed enforcement. And then engaging, and we've hit on this from the beginning of this presentation, from the beginning of the safety plan. Engaging everyone, because it's everyone's responsibility. So the public, management, policymakers, the elected officials, getting local mayors, to step up and point out how critical this traffic safety message is. Maybe getting that local newspaper to print a weekly or a monthly safety blurb on how to be a safer pedestrian. So engaging all users and everyone involved in the system. Next, I think that may be the last one there, Margaret.
I think so. Yeah.
Now, I've rambled and rambled, so it's time to open it up for questions and comments, criticism.
I guess I could just add the reminder that the request is to have any comments that you have on the plan document itself. Mike and his team are working on a couple more appendices for the plan. But it's pretty much, as far as the content of the main body of the plan itself, that's in pretty good shape. But that's what we're kind of hoping to get some feedback and comments from you all by April 1st. So we can get this, get it finalized, and then probably bring it back to the safety committee in May for recommendation of approval, and then it'll go through the rest of the MAG approval process. We anticipate going to regional council at the end of June for final approval. So.
So Margaret, this is Carrie. Is this the time when we open up with comments?
Yes.
And you're interested primarily in comments about the program, not about Mike specifically or personally.
Correct, about the safety plan specifically. Yeah.
No, I appreciate the work you guys have done, and I was thinking the other day that this is actually the direction that we need to be moving in as a state, and our STSP, when we update it next time, even though it's a few years off, still we would be looking at the safe systems approach, or at least integrating that into the program. What I'm hoping we can get out of this, assuming it is adopted in MAG, is that we get some experience on exactly what it is that works, what specific things come out of the program that can be applied to either the state or other regions of the state that actually make a difference. So I'm really encouraged by this move, and I'm looking forward to the adoption and the outcome.
Thanks, Carrie. And just to kind of add to that, there's some research coming down the pike that I have very preliminary knowledge of, that they're going to be looking specifically at how to implement safe system, whether you're an MPO or a DOT. So as I get more information, I'll be providing that as well to the safety committee. So that's kind of right in line in addition to what you said.
I want to thank you, Mike, for the presentation. I've had a chance to just kind of briefly scan through the overall, I guess, program plan is probably the best word. And I think it's really heading in the right direction. And hopefully agencies and everyone will be able to grab onto it and be able to do some things with it in coordination. So I'm looking forward to finishing the review and providing additional comments at that time. Are there any comments or questions specifically for Mike at this time from any members of the committee? Okay, hearing none, we really encourage everyone on the committee to take a good look at this plan. This will be, for the next several years, the plan and kind of the direction that the safety committee will be wanting to go. So this is kind of one of the more critical things that we really need to look at and provide comments if we have any of any kind. So appreciate Mike and those of you that have worked on this and being part of the committee and whatnot to make this possible. So with that, we will move on to the next item, which are reports by the committee members. We'd like to give any member of the Transportation Safety Committee opportunity to report on any ongoing safety-related project activities in their jurisdictions. Margaret, would you mind running through everyone that's in the meeting for that?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Mr. Chair. Carrie Wilcoxon? Do you have a report from ADOT? All right, with that, we'll move on to Shane Kiso from Apache Junction.
No report today, thank you.
Okay, John Willett.
No report from Buckeye, thank you.
Raymond from Chandler.
There's no report from Chandler.
Nick Russo, El Mirage.
No report, Margaret, thank you.
No problem. Aaron Pinkerton.
No report for Gilbert today, thank you.
Okay. Tony Abo from Glendale. Matthew Reed, Goodyear.
Nothing to report from Goodyear.
All right, great. Mazen from Maricopa County.
No report from Maricopa County. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan Hudson from Mesa.
Nothing to report for Mesa today.
Okay, looks like we don't have Brandon with us today. Mr. Chair, do you have any reports?
Yes, we do have a report today. We would like to report that Phoenix has been able to take to our city council here in the last month or so ago a request to do a comprehensive roadway safety plan. And that was actually passed unanimously by the council. So we are going to be busy getting a citywide comprehensive safety plan in order and in works. Also in conjunction with that, we did get approval for a couple of million to work specifically on some specific safety issues related to some of the RSAs that we have done in the past couple of years, mostly larger ticket items of, redoing some traffic signals and things that are of a nature that we didn't have funding to specifically do. So excellent, good opportunity for us and some good work moving forward in the safety realm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jason Botchin from Pinal County.
Nothing to report for Pinal County. Thank you.
Okay. Mohammed, Queen Creek.
Thank you, Margaret. We have a position open for a traffic engineer. The town is growing rapidly, so we added additional traffic engineer. So we have the position open. If you know anybody or for members of the committee, really appreciate if you spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Sam Taylor.
Nothing to report from Scott, so thanks.
About Dana.
Nothing today, thanks.
Thank you, Dana. Kathy Hollow.
Nothing new today, thank you.
Okay. How about Frank from Valley Metro?
Nothing to report today, thank you.
All right. And Jeff King from Federal Highway.
Thank you. No additional from what I previously reported during your report out.
Okay, great. Have I missed anybody that joined us after roll call? No? Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for those reports. Next item on the agenda, do any members of the Transportation Safety Committee have topics or issues of interest that you would like to have considered for discussion at a future meeting? Now is your opportunity to let us know on that, or you can reach out to myself or Margaret via email if you would like as well.
Mr. Chairman, this is Kerry Wilcoxon. One of the things that I'd like to throw out there, either for the next meeting or maybe discussions between now and then, we are getting ready to do our next call for projects, as Margaret mentioned earlier on. And even though the time horizon is far out there, we're trying to look at something along the lines of systemic pedestrian safety improvements for either the region or really the state, but primarily the region. So we'd like to think about, or have the members of the committee think about types of things that we could apply systemically to the pedestrian environment that might give us the biggest bang for the buck. Wouldn't have to necessarily be spot treatment type things, but it would be something kind of like akin to the countdown heads that were done a number of years ago, where we got HSIP funding for supplying countdown heads for the local agencies. So we'd be curious to know if there are any thoughts out there on systemic improvements, primarily for pedestrian safety, but it could apply as well to other areas. So something to consider for a future agenda item.
Great, Carrie, thank you. I can coordinate that with you offline.
That'd be great.
Thank you very much, Carrie. So last item here is our next meeting. It will be held on Tuesday, May 25th at 10 a.m. We are again going to be staying in the virtual at this point in time for our meetings. So with that, if no one else has anything to bring forward, our meeting is ready to adjourn. We no longer need to take roll call, so meeting is now adjourned at, let's see, roughly 11:21. Thank you all for attendance.
Thank you, everybody.
Margaret. Hi, this is Mazen. Margaret.
Mhm.
Sorry, can we talk after the meeting, please? There's a couple of things I want to ask you about, if you don't mind.
Sure.